morning. We had contemplated, a few of us, several questions to build our conversation around. And through the process, it got distilled into one question, which is, Shaykh Fadhlalla, what is the question we should be asking you?
What is it that makes me want to be like you? What is it that draws me to your state? What is it that attracts me to what I think you have? Well, I start by saying it is true, we are all subject to attraction and repulsion, and you are attracted, otherwise you wouldn't be here, or you wouldn't be connected, or you wouldn't. But it isn't that what I have more. It is what I have less, or I don't have. That is what is attractive. Which brings you to the point of this constant push and drive in life for liberation, freedom, being out of the box, having the ultimate vista of highest consciousness. We call it awakening. We call it all of these other names which are given, all of which mean the same thing, not being subject to the constant changes and dualities, day and the nights, and life and death, and he and she. What is it that will enable me, whatever that me is, which is changing every minute? How can that me be secure in accessing a zone of consciousness that is perpetual, that is permanent, that is majestic, that is beautiful, that is eternal, that is not subject to he, she, or it? So as I go beyond this constant drive to independence, everybody wants to be independent. It's a sort of madness which may lead to supra-sanity. Everybody wants to be, I want to be independent of my parents, I want to be independent of this country. You never know the economy, you never know these politicians, they are fancy. I want to be independent, so I invest somewhere else. I have another thing somewhere else. As they say, you do not have all your eggs in one basket. Very stupid. I want one basket and all the eggs in it. But no, everybody says, don't have your eggs in. Stupid beings, really idiotic. And everybody wants more sanity. What does it mean, more sanity? More rationality. The most boring people are the rational ones. You need to be rational, but not only rational. You need to love a cat, you need to talk to the bird, you need to sing, Rationality is the foundation of balance. This and that, cause and effect. This comes, that goes. It is the beginning of the amazing tree of life, which we call complete cosmic interdependence. All of it is dependent, one thing upon the other. But the forces are such that, from your point of view, you give it a hierarchy. This is more important than the other. That is more important than the other. Eventually, the most important thing is your breathing, your dependence on air. Hold your breath for a minute or two and you'll know. I said, thank God I can breathe. So you're so flimsy. And yet you want concrete investments. You want to have solid thing. You want to have total reliability. It's boring. So many of the marriages break down because of total reliability. It's like clockwork. You can't be married to a clock. You know, he may be a clot, but not. You change. You know, we are alive because of this perpetual change. And yet, each one of us seeks access to a reality, to a zone, to a state that never ever changes. That's why you say, he is a reliable friend. She is a loyal friend. Meaning reliable. At any time, you know, you can go to her or him and you complain and they shake their head. Yes, yes, you were right. Everybody else was wrong. And so you continue the gossip until you die. It's just. So what is it that we are looking for? What is it that you are driven, whether you like to know what are these drives or not, or who is in charge, where is God, where is not God? All of these are important questions. None of them is as important as the question I'm going to present you now. There are several levels of important questions, some of which are a bit irrelevant. Shall I live or not? It's not in your hand. You are a slave to life. You love life. You adore life. That is why so many of the world's industry are based on prolonging life. Take most of the big industries, especially, of course, the health industries, prolong life. So the poor fellow suffers more. He's already had 60 years of it. Now we give him another 20 years of suffering. Prolong the life of the idiot, yeah. So he can live longer. What a real punishment. And they are paid for it also. Prolong life. If your life hadn't taken you to another zone, as you all know, there are two zones, like anything else in life, of consciousness. One is the human consciousness. We can share. Who is he? What is he? Is it day? Is it night? Can we go? Can we not? These reasons which relate to what is called normal, healthy thinking. That's very basic. But yet we all aspire to touch a zone. Say, I was so joyful that I lost myself. Or I prayed so deeply that I didn't know where I was or what anything else is. So there are these two zones. One is the normal duality zone, where it is physics, chemistry, biology, all of the other things which we have batched now into compartments of sciences. Then we have discovered this very fancy and very difficult and very dubious thing which we call the quantum mechanics or the quantum reality. We still don't know anything about it. And whoever claims to know anything, we are told by the top quantum scientists that run away from them. They don't know what they're talking about. And that's why poor Einstein also said, God doesn't play dice. But in my version, or the God I know, is the dice itself. There is none other than God. It isn't I and God, some other entity. So that zone, which you call the quantum mechanics field, is the perfect, perpetual, original, all-encompassing reality. That's why in religions you also find, where is it that Allah is not? Everything is within that field, but has in it, within it, lives within a sub-field. You know? So that is why all creatures or animals have their own field of consciousness and their culture. And So on and on and on, you find that no matter where you look, what you do, there are these two zones of consciousness. Normal human consciousness, which we consider to be normal, important, or real. Now let's be real. Let's be real. That means start worrying, fearing, having sorrow, having anxiety and quarrels. That's called the real world. Now immediately say, let's be real. You know, you have all been there, you went to this, you were elevated, you went into another state of consciousness, but now come back, share our misery. Let's come back and be real. What does it mean? All what it means as an animal with a more evolved intellect, cause and effect reasoning, so you can participate diligently in prolonging your life. That is your obsession. There is no possibility of any life manifesting at any level unless there is obsession. The original obsession is with the one, because there is only one. It isn't you obsessed with love or God or the higher. There is only that force that holds the entire cosmos. From it, all the multiverses, the billions of different universes. What holds them together is the subtlest of all forces, which ends up with this word, which as humans we are suspect of. Oh, are you obsessed with him or with her or with money or with your position or with your personality? Of course you are obsessed. You can't live without being obsessed. Ultimately, these obsessions are multiples of different levels emanating from the one. You're obsessed with that. But you don't know it. So you have to suffer. I really gave everything I could. They were a nice family, but I did something, but their dog bit me and now I'm crippled for life. Good. So you blame them now. Yes, they had a dog. They're all dogs. They're all wolves. The closest to us are wolves, They're just like us. You look at the corporate pack, where they go unleash themselves exactly the same as the corporate world, and we behave very much like wolves and dogs, and that's why they are so-called man's best friend. And they have emotions, and they turn, and they can be vicious, and immediately they turn to be soft. He's eating the pups of his sister, whatever, and then suddenly he starts being the foster father. Very similar to us. So, these two zones, all of us are in the box of space and time. And each one of us, if you're intelligent enough, and if you're not crippled by emotional fears, anxieties, or sorrow, then you want to get out of the box. Not enough. Not enough. What is enough? And that is why this magnificent practice of sublimation, transcendence of the Muhammadi path begins with Allahu Akbar. Blow your mind off. Allah's greater, reality is greater, truth is bigger than you can ever imagine. So stop imagining, stop thinking. It's enough for you to think, imagine, make reason only for survival. Why are you surviving? Only to get old and decrepit? And then when you get old, you say, well, it's very unfortunate, Shaykh Sahib. The children don't like me anymore. So I tell us, I will be the same. Neither do I. Go find someone else. They don't respect me anymore. Yeah, because 20 years ago you were the money provider. Now they earn more than you. And you're still living with the old exchange rate of 30 years ago. And you're crazy. But I got used to it. We believed in the rand. Well, which rand? Which band? Which cant? What are you talking about? Believe in what? We all want to believe. We all need to believe. So these guide us. I believe in that the map I'm following is all right. I believe the path I'm taking is all right. You know, they even like me and they even feed me. Maybe a bit too much biryani, but never mind. We believe. We are all, you know, we are Muslims. You know, we believe, and then that's it. But if you are not careful, you know, we can rob you also. You know, we'll justify it because we'll call you another name. So we say it's all right. We are on a raid. Who are you kidding? Humanity is one. Humanity is only there as the earthly clot or the earthly plot of divinity. إنه من سليمان. Continue. إنه من سليمان وإنه, and then he confirms it is that way. So he starts with himself. He said, I am a Sulaiman. I've been endowed with these wonderful gifts from the unseen. I have a ruh that reflects Ruhullah. Inno is from this entity, this ultimate humanity, human being. And therefore it is by permission, وَإِنَّهُ بِسْمِ اللَّهِ الرَّحْمَنِ. What power! No wonder all the jinns and everything just dance to his tune. So you are humanity all the time driven, challenged, shocked, clobbered in order to wake up to divinity. If there is one project, this is the project. Then comes how, with who, what are the different, you know, codes of conduct. Give me the maps, give me the atlas. Where is the teacher? Oh, no, that teacher wasn't right because, you know, I saw him belching or so on. Oh, and he died. How come I don't want a teacher that dies? You know? And on and on and on. So we are all the same. Every one of us. Intelligent, high intelligence, low intelligence, we're all the same. And this tidy bell curve which was given to us of normality was another attempt of human being to box things. This is now normal, this is subnormal, this is supernormal. We have to do that. The mind wants to do that, to put everything in some sort of an order, because the universe is in perfect order. So this is my little universe, my tiny little mind with a few billion neurons. And so I want to put an order in this. My mind is disturbed. That means, you know, all kinds of things all over the room. Tidy it up. Tidy up your mind. Tidy up your state so that you can be neutral. Why? Why do you love holidays? Why do you love to be relaxed? Why do you love good relationships? Why do we all seek harmony? Why do we all love love? Because it connects. Love is a field that connects all kinds of entities. Physical, mental, material, subtle, electromagnetic, high energies, they connect. From that singularity, the absoluteness of no thingness, where everything was at one, the universe burst out. And we give it these fancy names, like Big Bang. The Big Bang also, in my case, your case, happened in the womb. That was the same. Everything has got its replication. Same way as the outer universe burst out, so is your personal universe. Started there. Now don't ask me why those fools did it, but never mind, you know, they got together and something just, and suddenly the baby comes out and there the problems begin. And all what the mother's harbored of emotions, fears, anxieties is fed to the baby. So you're already brought up with handicaps. You know, now you need to discover them quickly and forgive and forget. Otherwise, everybody shakes their head. but you don't know where I came from. That tells you that this is chapter 1 of my biography, which I'm going to inflict upon you. You are my victim, like a cat catches a little mouse, plays with it like this, like this. So you are being caught. Because something more than the mind touched you. Because you see yourself in the other person. Because there are no two. It's the same. What is the same? This other person is taller, shorter, blacker, whiter, whatever. These are all outer disguises. We are all the same. Allah says in the Quran, وَخَلَقْنَاكُم مِّن نَفْسٍ وَاحِدَةٍ. Here it means ruh. One soul, one spirit. There is one soul, one model. But it gets covered up quickly from the womb until outer with the levels of darknesses. I'm not saying darkness in a derogatory sense. It is to reduce the voltage of the spirit itself. It cannot manifest unless it is diluted. Until, yes, no, I'm all right, yes, they will like me, I'm intelligent, I've done well at school, yes, now I'm coming to an age. If only my parents stop asking me to get married. Now this is the mantra nowadays, because the poor parents suffered from the same misery, so they want to inflict it on the children also. And as soon as that miserable thing takes place, how many children do you have? Oh, only 5. Now, grandma, you don't know how expensive it is. Your grandma, she was in a village. They all produced them, and the baby ran out in the field and played with the goats. But now, my God, it needs 7 different types of shoes, because there are sports in the school, and we are paying for the school. And on top of it, you have to come and attend the games and clap. Oh my God, I'm paying for this. And then I'm paying with pain. I have to clap. Because the child wants to see the parents. Did you see me, mommy? Did you see how high I jumped? I'm stronger than daddy. Now we leave that aside. For that, you need to go to a psychiatrist and get more pills from an idiot who himself is on pills. Why? Because I see all of these people day and night. How can I not be depressed? So I too am on the highest dose, but I won't give it to others because it's not allowed. They'll sue me. But for me, I can do anything with me. Tragedy upon tragedy can only lead to a comedy. You must laugh. How stupid you have been. Why? Because you started with the wrong assumption that you are this character, this creature, this strong man, this businessman, this wonderful father, this head of the village, or this minister in the government. With all of them are sitting on very flimsy chairs. So if you have some of our chairs broken because they came from a political party, they don't know for how long they are sitting on that chair. Kursi. You don't know how long is that. It's wobbly. So everybody is hanging on their chair. So 2/3 of their energy is going on to hanging on a chair. So don't ever wonder why are they so inefficient. How can they be efficient? They don't know for how long this is going to last. In that time, they have to make their mark on history. Did you leave your mark on history? Poor Nixon was the only president who decided every utterance is going to be recorded. Little he knew that is going to catch him by the neck. His own utterances. I mean, if this is not a laughing matter that carries on to the Jannah, I don't know what else. Look at the Achilles heel. So who is the ultimate source? Allah says, this is what you want, see what it does to you. If you want me, then there is no you. And all is liberated. So the entire business is due to this illusion that I am separate from the one. The Muslims all talk about Tawheed, Tawheed, Tawheed. It became a subject, like all other religions. it becomes a subject in the establishment of structured religion. One topic. Oh, this topic is now belongs to Tawheed. That's why they are headless chickens. If Tawheed is not the core, the center, the essence, the outcome, the outer, then you are lost. And on top of it, you assume that you have a proper map or a path. Don't you know we are very religious? To start with, it means grim. Generally, they're all very grim because they frighten everybody by hell. So they are living in hell. You see, if you're all the time in your minds, that's how they gain power. You don't know which part of hell you're going to enter. So I usually whisper, I say, if you're going to be in heavens, please God, save me from that heaven. I don't want to be. So this idea of being protected by your religion is one of the subtlest and more difficult veils to pierce. The Prophet Noah told his son used reason, rationality. Flood was coming, and the story of the flood is everywhere. There are hundreds of stories of flood. No culture is without it, because there is always flood. These incredible four substances, which they used to be called the four elements, how each one of them brings life and death. Air, the most powerful of all, it can wipe out a mountain. And then earth, again, from it we are made. We are made from calcium and all the other nutrients. We have all the elements in us. Stardust, earth, and then water. Without water you cannot live. And fire. Without fire you won't have all the zillions of electromagnetic impulses going through you and your neurons. So all of this is incredible gifts upon us. So we are intelligent, we are aware, and then this amazing being, Noah, he said, look, the flood is coming, death is coming, all of you are destroyed. Come to be saved. So this is the metaphor of Noah's Ark. Come into this safety thing and float on rahmah. So the son says, no, I have reason, I have intellect, I have experimented, I know the hill is higher, I'm going to climb on a hill. So Nuh tells him, لا عاصم هذا اليوم. On this stage, on this phase of life, on this event, there is no safety as you think it is. Come to the ark of safety of the one and only oneness. Lose yourself. Forget duality, which we have already taken them into the ark, two of each. Enter into the unity, enter into the zone of oneness, and float upon rahmah. Meaning, if you have ease, rahmah of Allah. If you have difficulty, rahmah of Allah. But the first rahmah you know because you love ease. The second type, you don't know why is the difficulty. So you need to stop and enter into the most difficult zone of anybody on a practice or on a path. That zone is neutrality. How can you move from this zone of duality into the joyfulness of the eternity of unity unless you go through the neutral gear? You can't go forward unless you get out of the back driving gear, neutral, and then forward. Soon there will be, with augmented reality or intelligence, you don't need to do it by hand anymore. You think about it and it is done. Wonderful time we are entering. You are obsessed with something. Now, of course, you immediately have a sheikh. Everybody has a sheikh now. That's why I say you don't need a sheikh. It's called Google and other names. And really, you Google, what do you say about this? You said. So you immediately neutralize your needs. You wanted that. Another one called is you become, Amazon. It comes there and before you know, it's already there in front of you. Then you go to what next do I want? Next needs. I am a very needy person. although you would like to appear being very independent, ascetic. It's a wonderful thing, and they dress up in white, and they put a white turban or something on also, these people. They become that, we are ascetic people. And they often have kitchens because they eat so much and they do it in the kitchen, not with the other people. They're supposed to be frugal, vegans or whatever. So they start from the outer. We are very, we are committed people. I belong. I'm not the same. I'm now joined this sect. A Kromutari, they are called. It's my invention. It is not from India. Believe it or not, it's from the Andes. Because they were originally from there. New name, and a new guru. And each guru thinks that's what it is. I tell you exactly that. And when they die, the guru becomes even more important. It's easier because, you don't see their faults. You don't see the guru sneezing or fainting or falling. No, now this guru, we knew there was God there. Where is it that God is not there? Wake up. It doesn't matter if you believe in something, but keep on until you go beyond belief to relief, to live, relive. Nothing wrong with any of these things. So if anybody approaches me to say, what is the question? What can I do? What can I not do to have what I think is your state? I describe to you my state. It's very simple. I'm exactly like each one of you. Even though if you are really faulty in your reason and logic. I'm too. If I'm very tired, I'm out of sorts, I can't think. Absolutely. First thing you wake up. Or if you're very, very tired and you're about to go to sleep, or you have been given a lot of pasta or a lot of things at night. Here they do that, you see. They want to knock their people off. They believe in oblivion, in the afterlife. You see, so really they give you all these heavy things at night. So you go, you don't know where you've gone. And they all ask each other, did you sleep well? Sleep well? What? It means were the people relieved from you for a little while because you have become such a nagging person that everybody runs away from you. We are relieved for 6-7 hours. You need to sleep more, maybe 10 hours. Yeah, you're getting old, so sleep few more. So I am exactly the same as each one of you, even if you are partly demented. Really? Look, everybody gets dementia. So eventually they get dementia. It's a prelude to return. Initially, as the baby is born, it doesn't know. So for 2, 3, 4 months, 6 months, 2 years, 3 years, and then you say, no, it's only 5 years old. She doesn't know. It's only 9 years old. And she's only teenager. There is a lot of hormonal, warfare going on. And no, he's only 30. He's just beginning his career. Be careful. He's only 40. He's got 3 children, you see, and they all nag. No, he's only 50. He doesn't know about retirement. He's afraid of facing it. He's 55. He's likely to be made redundant. But not my husband. He is self-employed. But the employment has gone out of one because all those trading business finished. Now other people have come in, different thing has come, and. These people were all hundreds of little traders, and then they traded their own shop. They found the rental of the shop is more than what they were trading on. And on and on and on. Nothing ever is what you consider to be sanely in perfect balance. The perfect balance is the dot in the middle. That dot doesn't move. That dot is in you. It's surrounded by you as a clot. So get back to the dot. Constantly. Not once every year, once every 3 years. Oh, I suddenly remembered, hey, we were given something, where is it, what that? And souvenirs. We love to have pictures and photographs to remind us. Remind you of what? It always a little step towards that which is more real. The children's picture, the wife, the home, the country, the house, The poor Palestinians, everybody took the key of their house with them. They think they'll go back. Reminder of the haven they had. The little house we had few olive trees, few sheep, and this was our home. And one day we go back. Yes, you will go back, but not to the home you thought. To the ever-perpetual real home, cosmic home, which is already yours now in your own heart, called your ruh. Who doesn't want a real home? Who doesn't want to have a real parent? And that's why we always invent Father in heavens, Mother on earth, Jerusalem on earth, and we kill each other on it. The saddest and the most vicious, violent city is Jerusalem and its likes. The name of Mecca is from Bekka. Bekka is from Buka, crying, is the valley of weeping. You can't. The heavens is in your own heart. Once you try to bring it out, everybody wants to have a piece of it. The poor miserable saint died 700 years ago, somewhere in south of India. All his toes have been nibbled, because once a year they bring out the mummified figure, and everybody wants to bite at it, or have a piece of it to eat it. So as you become part of divinity. I mean, if that is not stupidity, I don't know what is, really. This is who we are. So this so-called bell curve, normal bell curve, be normal. What do you mean be normal? Means be clever. What is more beneficial to you? Jump on the opportunity to grab more before others grab it. The Prophet ﷺ was about to do his salat, Jum'ah, and the caravan came from Damascus. They could hear it from far away. The Arabs could, in the desert. They all ran towards the caravan. Why? So as they grab the goods before others give it a value. So they have a bargain. This is who we are. So we can be normal, more greedy, cleverer before the others. Get it. My son is so clever. In the Arab world, they used to call it shatar. What is shatar? Ibni shatar. I don't want to embarrass His Excellency. Really, what does it mean? Smart. Get something before you even know. Pickpockets you with a smile. He's smart. He's got it for nothing. Ibn Shatar. What was the biggest industry in Arabia until 80, 90 years ago? It was raiding. That was the biggest industry. There were, of course, many oases, settlements all around that had peace and so on. But the main thing was go and grab it, because you are obsessed with survival. And you have no other means. It's for that reason the brilliant Sharia you have is that if a person is hungry, desperate, and you have allowed them to see whatever, they are right to take it. It is your problem to have made this available for them to see, and therefore have it undercover, quietly. There are people who have in their own mind the need for it. If you have a need, you are, as I said, obsessed with continuity, life forever. You will do anything to preserve it. You have no option. You do not have this fantasy that you may call, I can act rationally, freely, with my own volition. It is not true. All your billions and millions of neurons in your body, it is not just your thinking. This is the outcome of all of that. That's why we also have the language of gut feeling. Question your heart. All of that means before thinking. You say, I made up my mind. You are a fool. Your mind was already made up several seconds before. There are dozens of phenomena that proves it. The most common amongst us is déjà vu. You feel you have been there before. It is that your senses know. It has already responded to the situation. Kinesiologies, all is already done. They've already said, no, go away, or come. And then you say, no, I've made up my mind, I like to go there. It has already been decided for you by other parts of you, more sensitive parts of you, the subtler hidden parts of you, like the electromagnetic waves of billions of different rays that are coming from the unseen. We have only begun to scratch the surface. Oh, these are these rays, these are gamma rays, these are this rays, these are X-rays, this is, and so on and so on and so on. We are at our infancy of connecting the seen and the unseen. And then everybody goes on, Alam al-Ghaybi wa shahada. They don't know what they're talking about. It is that cosmic knowledge. And your ruh is a replica of it. But you cannot listen to that because your faculties are now locked in to listen for survival. Who's the neighbor? Who's come? What's that noise? They're going to kill me. They're going to give me. No, they are nice people. They've come to honor me. And on and on and on and on. The people will come and discover this is our king, and usually it has its period, so he becomes their enemy and they kill him. And the poor fellow says, I thought they loved me. I thought they all wanted me. Yeah, now they want your blood. The poor fellow had all of Africa under his thumb. And eventually he has to be pulled out of a sewage tube that was waiting somewhere on the way. And he had several levels and layers of security guards. One layer after another after another. And it was crazy. He was following everybody else. Every despot must have his book. It used to be the red book. Now he had to make the green book and the other book. And what a farce. Eventually, when they were about to shoot him, he said, but have I done anything wrong to you? The other fellow, without saying it, not to me, but everybody else said, yes, we are suffering from you. We think by removing you, we will get out of this fantasy of suffering. But they don't know you can get the despot out of his palace, whatever, and slaughter him. But what about the despot in your own self, which is called yourself? What about this despot, whom you have been pampering every week, the hours you spent in front of the mirror, or the tweezers you have, or the nail varnish, and then you have to find the least harmful varnish remover. I mean, that is the big issue. If there is a big question in life, it is that. How do you find the least toxic varnish remover? The big thing, big issue. You know. And look at us. I came to South Africa 20 years ago. Nobody had heard of bottled water. Maybe in few cafes. And look at it now. You can't live without it. The amount of water here, the amount of rain, the amount of everything. But with mismanagement and abusiveness, everything here is to be made use of, is to be taken, reformed, rechanged with a trademark. And then poor Iraq, they cannot grow food that can perpetuate itself because of the Monsanto Treaty. I think this is what it is called. You have to use seeds that die out after a generation or two, so as you are 100% client of this big pharmaceutical. All of our agricultural corporations emanating from poison gas. In the 1905, 1910, and in the First World War, it was poison gas production. Then by the 1920s, 25, there was something like 10 to 20% of the population in Europe engaged with such chemicals that the most dangerous in existence. So they had to be converted into fertilizers. And that's why it's easy to make bombs. From where? So fertilizers. The different chemicals, about 12, 14 chemicals, you can make the most devastating bombs. Simple. This is who we are. You have the despot in you. You have the ignorant, the shaitanic thing in you. And the worst is it disguises itself as a do-gooder. Especially if you are religious. Run away from these people who say, you know, I have spent 9 mosques are in my name. And if you don't believe it, go and look at the placard. What does it mean? I'm trying to bribe God in this way, but I'm getting status. So everybody looks up to me. You know, I'm a very important man in this community. Yeah. They all come to wish me Eid. Who are you kidding? If you don't have your relationship with the one and only in perfect harmony, then be sure you are making a fool of yourself more openly and more honestly, because the others are not so stupid. They play to your tune, you know, because you have nicer samosas or something stupid or some. You have a status, so they all want to be photographed. I had a friend who was probably in his time the most successful banker, almost a monopoly on the country. I asked him, what is the most difficult part in your life? He said, everything is easy. We know what works, we know what not, what is going to be semi-monopoly and not. And of course they were monopolizing and he said, it's not about giving loans, it's not about assessing reliability of the customer. All of these are easy. We have actually computerized it. But the big customers always want to spend time with me, especially to be photographed. To be photographed with me. So as they are next to God. Do you know who it is? And if you really are also, now you sat with the number 1 man, the great man, you've taken a photograph. Now if somebody really wants to put you even higher, they come and tell you, say, but who is that fellow next to you? That you become more famous than the other fellow, who was the king. I mean, it's a farce. You must laugh. And then those tears of laughter can also become tears of feeling sorry for what an idiot you have been and possibly still are. Really. You know, I like these people here, my friends, who make this possible. Because I can speak like this, and they forgive me. And some of them even like it. So look, I am very fortunate. I think I'm the most fortunate person south of the Zambezi. No, south of the Nile. Really. Be honest, and you'll find people who are also trying to be honest will be with you. Otherwise, you start blaming them. It's their fault, you know. I am in this center, but they are really not the right people. You are not the right person. If you're right with the right, with correct, all is well. If you don't constantly recalibrate with the perfection of the light in you, then you become constantly oscillating. Love, hate. He's good, he's good. He was good yesterday, not today. He didn't come to you as a human being will be in a mess unless you pamper this quietly a little bit. Never mind, shut up now. I know the dog, I know the cat, I know the mouse. When he's in the office with the boss, he's a mouse. And then when he comes home, the poor wife has been working dead hard in the kitchen with 3 children on her shoulder, and the husband likes this food this way. He becomes a lion. Hello, where are you? Poor woman. Baba, she has been desperate and she tries to make herself beautiful because she knows there are secretaries in the shop, better minds are looking and they're all flirtatious. So the poor woman, she wants to be loved. You know, don't you think I am beautiful? I've known you all these years. I don't think so anymore. And I've dressed up for my birthday. He didn't notice. Always he was concerned about how much he paid. Who are you kidding? Wake up. Your animalism, you as an animal, you as a human, if you cannot neutralize it, to discover the light that gives you that model of humanity, then you are missing it. Then you are heading for a disaster, if not already in it. all the time saying, unfortunately, or how very sad, or very not. I'm so sorry about that. I didn't expect it. I'm very angry. That means you are a thorough, ignorant idiot. So if you want to appear to be intelligent, please don't ever say these words. Unfortunately, it's very sad that they did not do this. What do you mean sad? If you are supposed to be a Muslim, then the ultimate model is that you have no fear, you have no sorrow. Ayah after ayah says, لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. Now, you do not have a bit of a sorrow as a human being. You empathize with the others. I'm very sorry you've lost your mother. It is sad because separation is sad. Why? Because it's a lie. There is no separation. In oneness, there is no two-ness. From oneness emanates two-ness, three-ness, four-ness, five-ness. So two-ness come from one. Go to Tunis. And for poor people, they're trying to reconcile their heritage, their deen, with modernity and education. Because there are so many educated people, no jobs. This is what's happening in the world. The last 40, 50 years ago, it has become the ladder of success, especially for peasants. If you want to excel and get out of peasanthood, be educated. Go to town and be a doctor or an engineer or some other fool. So as yes, I am this, And of course the card comes out with all of the DSP, SK, SPP after it, all that. I've been to 9 universities. 8 of them were a lie. They were all correspondent or something. And the one which is more prominent was a 5th grade dreadful institution of ignorance. We are very, very special people. We are educated. I remember as a young man, we had wonderful people from Kerala. MSc in nuclear physics. He was a dishwasher, poor man. Kerala, they were ahead. To come the same thing. Educate. What is education? What is the ultimate purpose of education? There are 2 sides. One is an outer skill. You have some skill. Nowadays, we have lost most of the skill. Most of the men I found here, they cannot change a light bulb. Most of them, and that's why the poor women, they get married, she thinks that she's relieved. She thinks this idiot is better than her father. So otherwise, she wouldn't get married. She loved her father, usually, until she discovered he's stupid. So anyway, but there is that deep love. Father is very important. And if he's a bit more remote, like a grandfather, is even more important. And if he's dead as a shrine, 7, 8 generations, even more important. Everybody says, you don't know my ancestral background. And they try and dig in it. And if they're Europeans, especially British, they find many of them are descended from ex-convicts. So they stop at that. They won't dig anymore. I thought he was Lord Harlech. No, he was Lord Barlech. How did he become? It was from before Queen Elizabeth I. 500 years ago, if you were a good pirate, so you will be given the license to go and attack the enemies, but give the Queen or the government a percentage. So you become a privateer. That's the name. And the ultimate great privateers are all in Westminster Abbey. Go for a tour and you see them all standing like this with some scepter or something in there. Rule Britannia. And Clive of India. Clive was a clerk in India, but he gobbled up all of India. It is not Clive of India, India of Clive. That's how it became. Clive, and he's standing there now. Who are you kidding? And of course, they all are so, by all I mean the British, they're all so secure that they were God-chosen people. Everybody wants to be God-chosen people. We are the only people. Everybody is in hell. Everyone. And then they quote for you hadith after this. People will be 73 different things. Only one of them will be saved. All of the others are in hell. Of course, you always think you are amongst those one who is saved. Because you are special. Your mother loved you. Poor woman, she had no choice. She had no choice. For 9 months you occupied that space. And there were no regulation as to what is the rental. As Alexander the Great said, he said, it's a heavy rental to play for 9 months for my mother. The heaviest rent I had to pay. You have to love her and adore her and say, you're so wonderful. The woman has gone gaga. She was stupid to begin with anyway. Poor woman, they regarded her as nothing other than a kitchen thing and a reproducer. And even then, there wasn't even the pleasure of sex, poor people. They just bumped into each other and plop, something came out. Plop, something. And yes, alhamdulillah, Allah has graced us with 12 children. Allah has graced us. And then what if they die? Say, no, Allah, I'm not sure why Allah. So all of these traders here, the Indian Muslims, say, how was it like? Allah has graced us last year. We made a lot of profit. And next year, when they have to shut the shop, He doesn't say Allah has graced me and liberated me from having no shop. Because they got used to it. Why? Perpetuity, continuity. We love that which is forever. That is the divine light in you. وَإِنَّهُ بِسْمِ اللَّهِ الرَّحْمَنِ. If you don't do that, you have been a usurper of life, of food, of air, of water, of opportunities, of everything. So that thief in each one of us must surrender. I have been a thief all these years. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know how. I just slept and got up and ate and complained. Of course you complain, because you're not fulfilled. You blame everybody else. Always. It's her fault. It is his fault. His parents' fault. They didn't accept me as a bride. They didn't love me. The mother didn't. Of course she doesn't. She wants her slave, her little boy. Come Qasim, come my little Qasumi. So then now Qasim's fallen somewhere else. She captured him. Yes, I can't. But I have to put up with it. Because I'm told you have to allow what he wants. You can't do by force. It has to be accepting power. Acceptance of power is acceptance of the all-powerful. And then you may be given a little bit of force to speak. By whose permission? Are you trying to impress people? Or are you just singing as it is? Big difference. You're trying to impress or captivate. The worst thing is religious or spiritual materialism. The ugliest thing. They're my flock. Our people, they've gone, they defected. They went to the other sect. But John, your meal was no longer appealing. It was boring. They wanted to find somebody else that is a fresh kitchen. So they changed, it doesn't matter. And of course, because Al-Hakum Al-Takathur, we love increase, so we said, no, our number is increasing, you don't know. It's very popular, he's got 10 million followers. There are 7 billion idiots. What about 10 million? But there is this illusion that in numbers lies power. Oh, they can't all be wrong. No, they're all wrong. All of them are wrong. Until 400 years ago, the poor fellow had to disappear into under house arrest, Galileo. By simply he made an observation that this earth is not the center of the universe. The sun is not. Bing. It's only a few years ago the Vatican apologized that we did him wrong. Better late than never. Same thing us. We have to apologize. We have not truly been under the Muhammadi cloak of correctness, accountability. The air goes in, may not come out. Are you ready to leave? Are you ready to die? Are you ready to stay? Is it the same for you? If it is not the same, then you have work to do. Do your work. How? Serve somebody. Do something. Shut up. Learn to be quiet. Learn silence. Be neutral. Be content in the now. That is the door of ecstasy. That is the door of joy. The others are false doors. They may lead you to this. Who doesn't like pleasure? But whoever can say pleasure doesn't come with a bit of pain? The only thing is that you didn't know that this pleasure came with a lot of pain. Somebody got married, they warned him, please, marriage is like those fantasies that somebody coming to you as a new partner, you've got something, you've got nirvana, you've got the biggest celebration. Of course, that's why they take photographs, and they still remain in the hallucination. Look at us, we loved each other. But look at us now, miserable together. But that is before they lost their teeth. Look at, so this fellow was warned, said, look, marriage is like the pots of honey you buy in the East. We all cheat in the East. That's why anything comes from the East, you put a big question mark. Where is it from? It's from India. Oh my God. Where is the certificate of a Western company? Not there, so it's Africa. Oh my God. Well, or Arab world, even though they have nothing. I mean, they just have the illusion that they have Mecca and Medina, and they have these guardians of Mecca and Medina. Who are you kidding? Now, so they told them, said, look, marriage is like that, like the pot of honey you buy in the East. 2/3 of it is muck, and the top of it is real honey. So as you open it, it's nice honey. But soon you will hit the bottom. And that is really the state of your marriage. It's muck. So after a few weeks, they saw him in the street, how was this model we gave you of the pot of honey? He said, I think I opened it from the other side. Really, so it is like that. You have an illusion that somebody is going to save you. They are as much as you are in need. Stop this fantasy. But start by saying, no, I am a human. I want to get out of this without denying it, without denying my empathies, sympathies. I am the same as all of you. I forget, I lose, I am confused, and I eat. And often I eat too much. I often promise myself, not tomorrow, tomorrow I'll be better. And then I'm adding more and more. And look at the tires I have, tires they call it, or something. 20 years ago I couldn't pinch my stomach, but now I think, and I promise, and I go to dietitians, but really they're no good. Doctors also, they can't help me. They say, go to a dietitian. And you go to, accept your humanity and the frivolousness of it, and laugh at it. But have more and more and more and more trust in that it is not in your hand, in nobody's hand. It is Allah put in you this mysterious light, which is the same as every other light. And the more you resonate with that, the less you have desperation and anxiety and fears and sorrows. The teacher you want can start from anything, from the wind, from the ant, they have to remind you as to you are not who you think you are. All of it is begin by negation. La ilaha, not, niyat. Clear, empty. What is space? What is space? There is only space. The rest are tiny little bits. Take even any atom. If you imagine a football field, the nucleus of the atom is like an orange in a huge football field. That is the material side. And there is no material. It's an energy caught for a while in that format. Wake up. There is only the nur of Allah. And all of our science will prove more and more and more that the alam al-ghayb is the true alam. And the shahada and the witnessing or the tangible is a tiny bit. Starting point. It's not the end. It is not, let us now be scientific. You have to be, because that is causality. What comes first, what comes next, but time is an illusion. And the conclusion is timelessness. That is the nature of your own soul and every soul. That is why you love to be connected with timelessness. So if you would like to have what I have, I tell you, it is due to negation. It is due to my knowledge experience certainty that I have nothing and that there is no I. There is only that one disguised as billions of realities, cosmic entities, and so-called universes. It's a tiny flip. It begins with this birth, ends with death. And in between, we are all sleepwalkers, hallucinating. Be proud of your background, nothing wrong with that. Be pleased with your mother, but go beyond it. Her womb served you, her love helped you, her feeding you was essential for you to grow in order to question. So as you find there is no question. In fact, you will come to know, and this is by neuroscience, that the answer is there before the question. The question is you're opening the door for the answer to come in. Wake up. That is the quantum zone of consciousness. Two consciousnesses, human consciousness and the infinite divine reality. Your business in this life is to resonate the two together. Until such time, you know the doer is one, the source is one, the beginning and the end are inseparable. You do not deny duality. You do not deny that you are hanging on air, goes in, comes out. But it is such an insignificant part of your biography. Then you don't impose it on others. And we did this and we did that. Shame upon you. I request those who are close to me, run away from anybody is coming to you asking for approval of their charity or their do-gooding or their status. Run away from them. They are at the lower rung of the animal kingdom called humanity. Do you like what I did? How many mosques we did? Shame upon you. Why do you do it? They are not in Islam. The Quran says, "In ahsantum fali anfusikum." If you have done something for His higher goodness, it's for yourself. So don't brag about it. In fact, you will remove the goodness by bragging about it. You will do that to yourself. The barakah is gone. The barakah vanishes by you wanting to appear and putting your name. They have all these stupid little booklets of religious booklets and say, for the soul of this wonderful man, Abdul Karim Qadir or somebody. He was an idiot. She was another idiot. But in the name of our great-grandmother, Shamim Kanting Pantun. What are you talking about? All the children run away from her. Everybody knows. But when they die, because they are relieved, so you put something in their name. And you begin to exaggerate. That's why the best of the Sufi sheikhs are the dead ones. Really, because you can exaggerate. You know, he was a qutub. No, he was a badal. No, he was a kadal. No, he was something. Shame upon you. Because you are trying to impose a simple little map or a lens upon the cosmic light. It doesn't work. It does not work. You will only be kidding yourself. Look at the tragedy, which is really, again, has in it is comedy. So many of the so-called good religious people, Christians, Jews, Muslims, the same. They died often in misery. They died disappointed. Our own people. They died disappointed. Why? Because their concern was humanity. It's a good concern. But if that doesn't lead you, transform you, transcend you to your reality of divinity, you don't have that real joy. And it's not good enough if you don't. That's what it is. That's why most our highly structured religions have become barren. Because it only concentrates on reforming the character. Then what? You have reformed your character. You know there is nothing you own. You don't own anything. You don't have a bank account. Then what? That is a good step. But you take a step in order to be in the sanctum of your own reality, of the divine presence in you. If it hasn't led you to that, then it still remains within the parameters of cause and effect and space and time. That is not good enough. If your religiosity is not constantly illumined by divinity, by the infinite light, to liberate you from any illusion except the ever-present conclusion, then you have work to do on yourself. That is why most of these structured religions, whether it is in the Buddhistic or in the Christian or the Catholic or the Muslims, having this great, great Pope type, it helps at the lower levels. A bit of law and order, a bit of correct behavior. You can't do that. This is your neighbor. You can't steal the others. Correct. Why do you want stability in society? So that you can go into the infinitude of reality. Otherwise, it's boring. Here you have, I know, hundreds of homes. They've struggled, they've done their best, they were correct, they sent their children to school, they did this, they put their money, they invested for retirement. And they are miserable. They worked so hard, he was such a good doctor, he really was in the quality being, and the wife, and they had the usual stuff, 2 children, just a nice number. And then they built this beautiful little pearl of a place on the ocean. The week before they moved in, he had Alzheimer. He all the time asked her, I don't know who you are. And the poor woman talked to me. She said, look, I've worked all my life for this. And he still doesn't know I am Barbara. I am his wife. And he said, oh, every now. That's why I ask my also close people to me, who are you? You know, they sometimes also wonder, have I gone flipped? He says, I have. into the zone of reality. Not your reality. Your reality is limited and is boring and doesn't interest me. So if you want anything that is real, flirt with that which is unreal. Connect with that which is unreal. Suffer from it. Every now and then get your finger burned. And then you find, Babajan, these are simple models, reflections, symbols of the capital R-E-A-L. If you haven't done that, you are unfortunate. I regard most people like that. That is why I try to all the time develop empathy. It's not very easy, I can tell you. But I all the time remind myself, I've been asking, please may I be a bit more tolerant to put up with these walking animals. No. It's easier when you see them on 4 legs. But the generosity of nature wants everybody to reach to from where they emerged, the oneness. So they've suddenly 2 legs. Poor animals. I often try to listen to the cat or the dog and so on. What do they think of their owners? And in fact, they are the owners. Because the fellow comes back home tired. He wants now to see his wife running after him and making him into another king because he was shut up in the office and everybody looked down at him. He's an idiot. He's incompetent, like all of them. So he suddenly finds out that, you know, now Pug wants a walk with you. The dog has been waiting all day. He's going to pee on the sofa. I can't wash it all the time. Take him out. He's not as good as a dog. I asked once, somebody asked actually, the guru said, how I will be reincarnated next life? He said, if you are very lucky, you will be a poodle in a wealthy New York home. A chauffeur will take you, you're sitting next there, you know, into a coiffure every 3 days. If you're very unfortunate, you will end up being a nationalist Arab. 2,000 years too late. At a time when the whole globe has been shrunk into monetaristic control, now you want to be nationalist. You know, we've got Independence Day. Can we invite you for our Independence Day? Oh boy. With friends like that, you don't need enemies. The Independent Day, you have to stand up there. They have this funny thing called flag. Where was it a few hundred years ago? It was the sign of conquest. We've got them, we've torn them. Now we have a flag, and everybody have a national anthem. And all of them have to have a bird. And most of them have eagles, especially these insignificant countries. The country is barely able to stand on its feet. It's living by subsidies. Now we have a big eagle on ours. And so on. And on top of it, when their despot disappears, they long for him. Really, look at Bukasa. They are crying for him. And we all want a pharaoh. The illusion of God here, God on earth. Laugh at it. Everybody thinks the child, 3-year-old, my father will come. The father is a cripple, but my father will come and beat your father. He's stronger. They don't know the women actually are much stronger, especially if they fight. Oh my God. I mean, that is the ultimate. You have to truly disappear into your grave. Inna kaydahunna la'azim. Watch out. And here was this meek, quiet woman. Say, for 42 years I kept quiet. Now I'm going to speak out. I hated you. Please show me some more people like that. They are worth it. Because at least they are beginning to knock on the door that has no end. Be honest. Be real. Cry. Laugh. Weep. Live the moment. Be in the now. And you're at the door of your own ruh. So if you ever have a certain measure of empathy with someone, if you are at a lower scale of animaldom, then you want what they have. It's covetousness, because you are number one. The soul is number one. So why not me? Why didn't they give me that? Why have I not won that? Doesn't God love me? My mother loved me. Somebody loved me. I hope somebody will love me. Someday I will be discovered. Until, of course, you are in your 30s. Especially if you are a woman, you think somewhere, somehow you'll be discovered. Because you've been looking in the mirror and doing a bit of a jiggery poker. So Hollywood will some producer somewhere. I'm special. Everybody is special. Stop that stupid stuff. The ruh is beyond being special. You can't be humble until you know that your ruh is beyond value. So I share with you, the best of times are now. If you are really wealthy, you don't know how much you are worth it. If you are really wealthy and powerful, you don't care for the paraphernalia, your dress, your thing. Steve Jobs lived still as a semi-monk, because of the influence of the year he was. You go by Uber, not a huge car. 40 years ago, you should have been like that. And 2 people open the door and 10 bodyguards and salute. You say, oh, this is an important fellow. He made himself important. And then the poor son of the king has to make a shrine for the father. And it has to become a tourist attraction. And a few guards standing there. What a joke. What a joke. And they call it country's heritage. And then it possibly will end up afterwards becoming a discotheque or some bar for the visitors, some drunken some. What are you talking about? Who the hell was this idiot? Go and see the shrines of the Mughals in India. They're dark, awful. And the shrine of somebody who was awakened, you find is still there something. Nothing is lost. There is this light. Look what's happening now with the shrine of Imam Hussein and Ali alayhi salam. Look at it. When I was a kid, there were some commemoration of the Arba'een. There would be people coming. You heard this wonderful story yesterday from Safiya Surtis. Look at it now. 20, 25 million people. What does it mean? It's a sign of desperation. Same thing of the number of people going to Umrah. It's a sign that I, as a human being, do not find it sufficient. Allah help me. And I heard I get closer there. It's a fantasy of your imagination. Allah has no distance, no closeness, no further. Really, I am so often asked, how can I get closer? What do you mean closer to who? I don't exist. I only know there is only that light. by its karama, by its virtue, by its rahmah. There is only that. These words are also big obstacles. Is he liberated? Is he enlightened? Is he awakened? Stop all this rubbish. This is Sufi goofy talk. Not interesting. Really. It's all another spiritual materialism. How high is he on the scale? What do you mean high? The ultimate is not a scale. It is an infinitude of reality from which comes this tiny encapsulated space and time prison, which is also our sanctuary. So you need to transfer you being a prisoner in your body to it being a sanctuary. Admit you are a caterpillar and pray that the butterfly will emerge because it's programmed to be. That is why you occasionally see yourself as this floating, dancing. It's true. Your soul is everywhere and nowhere. It is perpetual. It belongs to another zone. So it made this journey. How, why, we don't know. It came to go. It has, but in truth, there is neither coming nor going. So the question you have asked earlier on is, how can I be like you? Then who is the you? Who is the me? The me is a self that's ever changing, ever evolving, and a soul that is its source of life. And the more I resonate with my soul, then the changes don't matter. Yes, I've got old, or I can't talk anymore, or I've decided I don't want to be with anyone. Perfectly all right. There was some time I wouldn't have minded thousands of people. There may be a time that I'd like to be quiet. I am in the sanctuary of the sanctum totality, and I don't feel guilty. Come and cry whatsoever. I say, thank you, goodbye. You ask me, what do I want? I have always practiced not to want. So now don't add to my burden. You are reminding me of some traces of a miserable biography. I don't want to have that. Don't try and entice me. I've had many ups and downs. I've been round and round like the hamster on the wheel. That job is better. This house is better. This position is better. Stop it. You want better to climb until you find the vastness of Allahu Akbar. If that has happened, then you have to ask permission. Bismillah. Is there a me or is it it? وَإِنَّهُ مِن سُلَيْمَانَ وَإِنَّهُ Bismillah. Then you are here enjoying it, not denying it, but all the time being confirmed by the one, unto the one, from the one. There is only one. Then you can truly say, enjoy. Otherwise it's a pleasure, and it will always come with seeds of pain. So watch out. Pleasures are the enticement, are the hooks of bliss, of joy, what the soul knows. I hope you'll have a good time in the sense that it is not reversible. A time that leads you to infinite time, to that which is eternal. Otherwise, time is elusive. You're only getting older, less flexible, less agile. The secret is, as you get older, the material side of you becomes more rigid. The bones, the knees, the head. But if your heart does not become more, if you like, flexible and alive, then you are naturally heading, as practically everybody I know, for a life of fears, anxieties, and depression. And there are big pharmaceutical things where nearly a third of the world population is on antidepressants. Aren't you yet on it? And of course, they all collect to share their. Yes, you know, and everybody wants to be a bit more, less on higher doses. And the psychiatrists often ending up themselves taking the biggest doses. How can you cope with all these idiots coming unless you're going to be depressed? Good time is a time that is good perpetually and does not change with time. I can't help you. Nobody can help you. 1,000 prophets cannot help you unless they act as a mirror. إِنَّكَ لَا تَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَنْ. So they become like a mirror for you to look at yourself, your inner self. The outer mirror shows you your face. If there is somebody who you think is awakened more than you, at best they can reflect the inner you. So as you truly dive into the light rather than its shadows. Companionship helps. Friends help. Diet helps. Control and discipline helps. More than all, what helps is you being able to stop your mind anytime, any place. In the middle of your seething anger, suddenly you switch off. People will be frightened, I tell you, if you do that. Suddenly they see you raging, suddenly you smile. And of course, all of you. That's what happened with Musa alayhi salam. He was holding the head of his, it's in the Quran, holding the head of his brother. He was nearly, as the Quran describes, dislodging him because Musa was a very powerful man. And his poor brother. So suddenly something awakened. It says, In hiya illa fitnatuk. Here he was reprimanding the brother, and the brother said they would have killed me if I didn't yield. They all want gold. Everybody wants gold. Everybody wants power. Everybody wants money. Everybody wants position. Why? Because the Ruh knows cosmic power, knows the power of Allah. So he nearly dislodged his head. And then in between, suddenly he stops. He said, in here, suddenly the switch came to the higher zone of consciousness. In here illa fitnatuk. You would not understand the Quran unless you have these two zones. Suddenly, Maryam alayhi salam, trust, she doesn't know. And suddenly, huzzi ilayka bijadillah. We don't know. If you're doing higher quality work, think a bit about it, but then throw it away. You don't know. I didn't know what we were doing today. It started with a fantasy of 5 questions. I didn't know what it was. Didn't know why I was coming. But somebody came and the door closed and I came. Trust. You don't know what's happening. So trust. Do your best and stop. Do your best and stop. I find many of the people who are close to me carry on with anxiety because they are not present at the moment they are doing the thing. If you are helping somebody, concentrate on that. Think there is no one else except that body and you. There is a transmission then. And then at the end it finished. Not carrying it your own mind. Oh, I wish I did this. I wish I had done that. No, not allowed anymore. In Islam, you are not allowed to dig graves. That is a metaphor of the graves of your own mind. Everything in our deen is two, outer and the inner. Don't go and dig the grave of what happened before. It's gone. You can't do it anymore. Be present. Future will take its own course if you are present. And that you are entering into the perfect future, perfect destiny. You have to do it. Enough talking. Now you have to live it and make mistakes, fall and get up and laugh at yourself. Admit it. Don't pretend. No, I never. Don't admit. Otherwise you are an idol worshipper. And that is your own image of yourself. That's the worst idol. Outer idols you can kill. You can kill all of the despots, all the leaders. What about the despot in you? Good luck to you. I hope I'll be talking less and less. And because it's all has been said, all has been done, you need to find friends who are close to you, who reflect to you without gossiping. If they acknowledge what you are claiming or blaming, then they are really not helping. Simply they are enhancing your nafs. You see, that's not a friend. A friend who can tell you that you have gone again astray. You're now worshipping your own fantasy. You have not been appreciated. Who are you? All of us appreciate the obsession we have to the one and only one, who is the only reality. Thank you. Wassalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Shaykh Fadhlalla. Thank you, Shaykh Fadhlalla, for shedding a generous and humorous and piercing light into the nooks and crannies of the human condition. and reflecting to us so vividly and powerfully and energetically the veils and the traps of language and concepts and all of the things all the way that we think things are and are not. And thank you for taking us to the viewing points of the vastness of divinity in which we are embedded and which unfolds within us. I feel like we've been taken on that journey through the fractals that we were shown yesterday on the screen. Or we've been running through that incredible one organism of the honey fungus that Haji Mustafa mentioned to us. All connected, one thing leading to another. I pray that we will all become those butterflies that you mentioned, shimmering in the light of divinity. Thank you.